Some days ago, I saw a really cool post that gives me a slightly different perspective of my situation with one of my parents. And of course, it's my dad. And it has to do with the dynamic of their actions as an adult. And it's something that I really never considered from this perspective, but it's obvious. It makes sense why this would be the case, but I thought I would share with you guys directly what it is that I read, and maybe if some extra thoughts emerge, I'll share them, but I feel like it's nothing that I haven't said before. I just really haven't said it like this. And it goes: a parent who allowed their adult child to become estranged has abandoned them. Although the adult child was the one to ultimately walk away, their parent was never willing to change or take the necessary accountability to keep them around. And the reason I say I never thought about it like this is the aspect of how, even as an adult, the abandonment still persists. And sure, I never really tried to, say, make decisions that bring me closer to my father. Say, we don't live in the same town. Shit, we don't even live in the same state. Yeah, there's a part of me that's like, I don't really try to go out of my way to connect with him. And it's got to do with how in the past, when I have tried that, I always felt like I came out hurt. Because I guess when I would try to have a relationship, my needs were still not being met. And I don't want to sound selfish when I say that, because we all have needs, but I'm just saying that from him as a father, what I would want for him to supply, maybe he just can't. Maybe he's just incapable. And I guess I was creating ideas in my mind of what I want that to be, and he's not going to deliver that. And I was just continuously being delivered disappointment. Disappointment leads to frustration. Frustration leads to just dark paths, dark feelings overall. And I guess that is something that I was having trouble with. And in part, something that makes me really sad about this whole situation is how, sure, I had my season, especially as a kid and preteen, in which I can say I was actively having salty thoughts and feelings, and I would verbalize a lot that I actually hated him. As an adult, I have never taken a stance of actively pushing him away. Like, I don't really say those things. I just debrief on the past. Like, hey, this is the way things turned out for me. This is the way I experienced it. This is how I felt, thought, etc. But it's not like I have ever in my life told him something to invite him into making the decision to avoid me or to abandon me altogether. If anything, I can say I'm a case of a rehabbed person, rehabbed girl with daddy issues. What I mean by that is, as opposed to carrying on that hatred into my adulthood, I don't know how, but I was able to let it go. I don't let go of my memories of how I felt, but it's not like I surface that every time I see him. If anything, I have never ever brought up the reality of how he made me feel. I've never shared that with him. So it's not like he can say that I make it an unpleasant experience to be around. Because if anything, what I would like to try is establish a foundation, which is, we don't really have communication. We really don't know each other like that. Therefore, establish that tone that our relationship is going to have moving forward. And unfortunately, over the years, that moving forward has always been that he'll say we'll do things, but he never follows through. And that is where that disappointment and then frustration comes from, because that has been my entire life, my entire experience with him. But I never really thought about how, as an adult, you can still continue to be abandoned by your parent. I always thought of it as, only when you're a child does the abandonment matter. But when I think about my present as an adult, I'm like, nah, I can say that as an abandoned adult, it only exacerbates my experiences from the past. And at least I can process it better and healthier now. I don't really internalize it a lot, but I'm just saying that I experienced the abandonment because clearly I continue to not be invested in a way that only a parent can, only a father can. And the part where it says they were never willing to change or take the necessary accountability to keep us around, I look at it as for him to change, he would have had to give up during his prime the thing that he valued the most, his treasure, which was his job and his career and all that. Taking the necessary accountability, I'm not sure anymore what that would look like as an adult. I thought I knew, but when I think about it, I don't know. And I've never heard of other people, I guess, reconciling with a parent, I guess, in a very meaningful way. Say, this adult somehow made it without the parents contributing. And now, after they're successful, the parent is coming back to the picture. Therefore, they are welcome into the life. But it's not like the reconciliation happened and it served as a catalyst to aid in the quest at helping an adult become successful. I don't know a story like that. And I just don't know what, if I were to put myself in my father's shoes, if I were that parent who abandoned children and continued to abandon children, I'm not sure what accountability would look like. I know that, of course, I can't just walk away. It's not like a pet that you can just drop off somewhere and be done with them, to give it a cruel comparison. But I wouldn't know where to start. And usually things like this, I always feel like I know the answers, and if I don't, I can imagine it. But for this one, I'm having trouble imagining it. And I think it's because it doesn't help that I genuinely, sincerely don't care to be a parent. So I just cannot picture that. I would have to take some time to meditate on how I think I would be as a parent, what management style I would have. And from there, if I had abandoning tendencies, how do I think I would reconcile with that after decades of being absent? Necessary accountability. I don't know. I mean, even if he started giving me money or something like that, it's not enough because I need from him the things that only men know, like that wisdom that should come from a father, and the protection that should come from a father, and the confidence, safety that should be provided from a father. I've never experienced it with him, at least not for prolonged periods of time. Like, sure, when I hung out with him, I never felt unsafe, but I'm just saying prolonged to where it's meaningful, consistent, and it makes a difference. I don't know. So yeah, you guys, I thought I would share this one because, like I said, most of what I said is not anything new, but I'm just sharing it from a slightly different angle. I've never approached this discussion from this point of view, the point of view of your parent can continue to abandon you even as an adult. I never really thought about it. I always thought of myself as I'm an abandoned child, as a literal child, and I'm carrying those childhood challenges into my adulthood, but I don't consider myself an abandoned adult, even though I am. So I get a feeling that this is going to trigger a new string of thoughts that haven't quite marinated yet, for I haven't really absorbed this entirely, but just so you know that I saw that, I read that, and this is how it made me think. Okay, that's it. Bye.